So I think that was a pretty cool thing. So probably Infinity War would be my favorite, but I like them all with a good story and good characters and good casting. I really think that Marvel has outdone themselves with really capturing people's interest and holding on to it for this long. I mean, shoot, it's been 10, 11 years since everything first started. So, and the fan base has grown and grown and grown, and people still love the earlier films like Iron Man, Captain America, because they are continuous. There's no real standard difference, I think, between the films. They've really stuck with similar features, similar ways they've done things in these movies, to where it really all holds up to running together, and you can really appreciate them as a group. So it's not like anything stands out as better quality than another, because they've all been created the same way. So but the stories are getting more complex, and the effects are great as always. And so I think once we do see Endgame, that's probably going to change our opinions. Just from seeing the previews alone, that's going to be an epic movie. But this year being a good year for movies, let's not forget the next Marvel movie that's coming out, which is Dark Phoenix. Being that they do exist X-Men exist in a different timeline or universe, I guess, or reality or dimension, whatever you want to call it, than the Avengers. But I think of this reboot set of the X-Men movies, this one, Dark Phoenix, is probably set to be the box office breaker of all of them so far, because we've had a lot of build-up and not so great momentum with X-Men First Class and X-Men Days of Future Past. It kind of fell short of the mark of being fantastic, I guess you would call it. But I think they made a good setup to this whole character arc of Dark Phoenix and Jean Grey, and telling their own version of how she became what she is now. But it does look like it's going to be a really, really action-packed attention grabber.
Yeah, going back to the Avengers part of Marvel, what I thought about Infinity War was, at the end, when they were in Wakanda, and after Thanos had gotten when they were on Titan, I feel like Doctor Strange did something to the Time Stone. I feel like, no.
What would he have been able to do, you think? I mean,
because there's been, when Thanos puts the stone into his gauntlet, like the spell of the time thing, like it opened. The spell, like a spell came around the gauntlet itself and kind of around the time stone. It went by so fast that Thanos probably didn't even see it. But, and also at the end of Infinity War, when they were in Wakanda, Thanos showed up. Where was Thor? Like, he was probably off battling or something, but when Thor bludgeoned him with Stormbreaker, and when Thanos said, "You should have went for the head," I knew immediately that was the end. And when he snapped, I'm like, oh snap, what's gonna happen?
No pun intended. I think wasn't Thor on his way back to Earth from getting the Stormbreaker made?
Yes,
and he kind of showed up late to the fight.
Yeah, after he got Stormbreaker, he what was that? He bifrosted there because his new hammer / axe against Stormbreaker has the power to wield the Bifrost. So he bifrosted there and showed up around a little bit after the fight started and used his lightning power and said, "Bring me Thanos." And Thanos came, and he even wanted him, but he wasn't there. He came at the wrong, where was Thor?
I think the characters that were fighting in Wakanda, while they were able to handle what was going on, it was a tough battle with the creatures and things, but at the same time, they were not expecting Thanos as he came. They weren't expecting him to be so. Don't want to use the word invincible because clearly he's not, but they've never gone up against anything like that. And I think the problem of Hulk being too scared to manifest himself is part of the reason why Thanos has had such an upper hand, because he basically scared him. Hulk never has run up against anything so far that we've seen
Stronger than him.
stronger, equal to or stronger than him. So it kind of really threw him for a mind game, so to speak. And so he's just scared now. A lack of self-confidence, I guess you'd call it.
And they didn't even have a time to like prepare. Like when they say, "Okay, we got to make a plan. He's coming." Like when Iron Man, when Doctor Strange,
I don't know which character is Blah. I don't remember. Where was he at in the movie?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. Well, that's might be one of those little Easter egg characters we'll learn more about later when he gets his own movie. The Adventures of Blah.
Well, when Doctor Strange used the ring thing to teleport where Iron Man was to get him, Iron Man, while they were there talking with Hulk, Wong, and Doctor Strange, and Iron Man, they said, "Alright, this is it. This is what it's all been leading up to." And they said, "We gotta make a plan." And as they were going to start the plan, there he was. They didn't even have time to do. They were already there on Earth, with the whole ship thing and the cars flying everywhere, and Iron Man is dope suit when he just like
nanotech.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I kind of think that even though they were like immediately in the fight, I do think both Iron Man and Doctor Strange had been planning a strategy based on what was going on and what they knew this entire time. And clearly Doctor Strange knows more than anyone else does.
Yeah, because he encountered Dormammu. Who knows what happened up there when the camera went away from him and Dormammu. Like, he's the master of the mystical art, so...
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, and then the fact that he did all that, looking through all the different scenarios and times and possible ends to this fight, and how whatever was 14 million or whatever possibilities, and only one of them was where they won. And the fact that it ended the way it did made us think, okay, maybe this is not one of those one possibility where they do win. But after he said, okay, we're in the end game now, that means that he must have seen how this particular scenario would play out to their advantage, and we just have to wait and see what Endgame has to reveal about that. But that was, I think, he's the only character that I think really was able to predict, not so much predict, I guess is the wrong word to use, but foresee a possible victory. But through that victory, they would have to come through a bunch of defeat and loss in the process. So that's going to be really, really cool to see how that all plays out.
Yeah, well, I guess that wraps it up for Marvel. I mean, there's probably...
We could talk for a long time about Marvel movies and theories and conspiracies and all that kind of stuff, because it's just good movies and good content.
Yeah, the Russo brothers really did a number on everybody who's seen their movies. Well, now let's move on to our second topic, which is how racing games have gotten better over the years.
Brum, brum, brum. That's how they used to sound. Okay.
So I'll start this one off. I love games in general, but I like racing games. Like my favorite is like the open world type stuff, like Forza Horizon 4 and 3 and 2. Not really 1. 1 you don't have like a 1 is that's not that.
There's still boundaries.
Yeah.
But I think at the time that they made that, they were still figuring out what they could and couldn't do.
Yeah. Like Forza Horizon 1, it took place in where was it? It was either in
Colorado.
Colorado. Then the second one, it took place in Europe. And then the third one was in Australia. And now this fourth one, which is amazing, which takes place now in
Gotham City.
England.
So that's really cool.
England.
I swore it was Gotham.
And how the Forza Horizon 4 is probably my favorite, best open world game entirely. With the weather, like the seasons changing every week. You got autumn, winter, summer, fall, spring, and the snow too. And the seasons also affect what cars you drive and how they drive. Like in the snow, you gotta have cars with snow tires on, or unless you'll be sliding everywhere. You can do anything with anything. You can take a POP 50 and turn it into a 236 mile an hour car. But as I know now by watching AR12 Gaming, he does Forza Horizon videos and little experiments and stuff. He made a Ferrari 5XXF. I think that's what it is. I don't know the exact term, but
Ferraris all have weird names now. They don't. It's just not Ferrari something. It's like they have to put the whole alphabet and a bunch of numbers in there and confuse you.
Yeah, and he made it go over 326 miles an hour. Fastest car for Forza Horizon 4.
My question is, where is there any spot in that game where there's enough open road to get up to that speed in the first place without curves?
The highway, one in the highway starts at Edinburgh.
Edinburgh, way up there, Edinburgh.
People who know Forza Horizon 4 and have it, you know what I'm talking about. It's a really long highway, have a nice stretch. There's a race where the highway begins. You just go where that race is. You can start it and wait for the other cars to go, but it's a straight shot race. And you drive up. Blah. I don't know why I can't talk.
There's that movie again.
You drive.
Now they're releasing a game about the movie too.
You drive up. You get about, if you're driving a really fast car, you get above 100 miles an hour, and then you see the roundabout. You have to jump at a precise area on the roundabout to not get too high to where you land and lose speed, but high enough to where you're over the roundabout and land perfectly without losing any speed. And then you just gotta keep the car straight as you can. Don't hit the rails.
You might damage your roundabout. Yeah, joke.
Okay. Then and try not to hit the side of the tunnel. That'll also help not to diminish speed. And then after you got the tunnel, you got a nice straight shot. Get you up to 200. But if you have like a really fast car like the McLaren F1, there are tunes in the game you can download that are X-Class 999 that will get you up to 316, 15, something like that. And there's this turn on the highway where if you do it, you just lose a bunch of speed. You just gotta ram into the wall at the highest speed, and once you hit the wall, that's where you clock your time and how fast you went. But in terms of overall actual racing games, even though I don't like this game, I'll have to give it to Forza Motorsport 7. It's people with Motorsport 7 know why I'm choosing it. There's a bunch more you can, like, you got real life tracks, as you know, with my Real Racing 3 playthroughs, which will continue this Wednesday. This will continue this Wednesday. There's a bunch of tracks you can do. I'm still wondering how Real Racing 3, the people who made it, got those tracks on there.
I'm actually seeing, because I'm currently playing Forza 7, I'm actually seeing now on the point I'm at in the game where I've completed all of the driving challenges and now I'm on a second round through them, that on your second round through them, it's adding tracks that were not excuse me, I'm having a blue moment now. In the first time around, when you first start playing the game, that weren't there before.